Peace. It's time to get started. So let's already go ahead and begin. Yo, peoples, Qushu 92 here. Welcome back to more One Piece. I look at the list for Viz right now and it says we're going on break. Didn't we just have this discussion of how we got a couple of chapters of One Piece already? I wouldn't be surprised if we got a break and then we went into March. Didn't we just talk about this literally last Sunday? We just talked about it. And now after today's chapter, we're going to be going on break, which means we won't be getting a chapter coming out of February. Matter of fact, let me check something else. Hold on. I'm kind of curious. Let me refresh this page. Sakamoto Days won't be going on break, but One Piece will. So, let's go ahead and begin with today's chapter. In the last chapter, Somers basically fumbled the entire plan of the Holy Knight's purpose for being there on Elbaf. They're leading everyone out. Gunko manages to regain some control of her body, allowing Brook to basically majorly escape, except his leg gets still caught, but he can move his whole body. We find out that there's someone in his life called Princess Shuri, and how he despises her because she's a patricide murdering princess, apparently. We don't know the relationship between Gunko and this Princess Shuri, who looks eerily similar, based on Brook's words. The rest of the Straw Hat crew are freed up, though Robin is still bound up by Somers' thorns. Sommer is leading the children towards the ship. We can see the ship on the coast. They're getting close to the stairs. A Sleep Tid pops up, and the parents, the giant parents that are there for their kids, they're jumping in order to save their kids. And when Gerd, Goldberg, and Roto come in with Gokoku sovereignty, they knock away this Nika Sleep Tid, which falls, the MMA, if you're going between any version, knocks it towards Somers, and Somers is all like, why are you falling this way? And inadvertently smacks this MMA away, and causes it to land on the very ship that the Holy Knights were intending to take the kids away on, simply because they are not able to transport the children through the use of an Abyss Gate because they lack the Abyss Covenant. But here, Somers basically just fumbled the entire operation, and there is no way to get these kids off of Elbaf now. So yeah! Let's see chapter 1174, The Strongest Thing in the World. Oh. We haven't had a cover request with him in a while. Reader requests Roger going on a walk with a Tyrannosaurus he tamed like a puppy by Tokomon. I wouldn't put it past Roger to be the one person that could make a T-Rex bend to his will. Literally, he probably folded this T-Rex, and now the T-Rex is wearing his hat, eating a piece of meat. And mind you, Roger is also eating from the same piece of meat. You want some, you trusty little T-Rex, you? It doesn't surprise me that Roger tamed a T-Rex. Not even a little. But now we have Somers, who's looking at the ship who has basically been destroyed. Oh, hold on. Family's calling in. Hold on before I get started. Surf and turf food! But we begin with Somers. Basically going, oh, that's bad. Stupid Sleep Tid. I lost the ship, and I lost the sea clouds. So, any attempts of using sea clouds to navigate to any place is gone because the Sleep Tid not only fell on the ship, but also has left a gaping hole. has left a gaping hole that falls straight down to the ground below. So the kids are still on a path to fall off of the edge.
I lost the ship, and I lost the sea clouds. This looks really bad for me. The power of the arrow is still active. The kids are gonna walk themselves right off the edge and splatter onto the mountainside below. Gunko, stop the kids! Gunko, we need to pause the operation! Wait, that won't work. Great Emu is inside of her now.
Phrasing, Summers.
If I could just undo that arrow.
And then we have the parents who are trying to break the arrow going, "What's it made out of? We can't even scratch it! Mommy! Daddy! Help!"
It's pointless, you clowns! If you could stop it, I would have done so already!
And this is Sommer saying this to all the parents.
Huh? Wait. All those parents, right at arm's length, unable to touch due to the thorns, and forced to witness their beloved children plummet to their deaths. Now that's a deliciously depraved way to die!
This dude is getting off on the thought of these children plummeting to their deaths and their parents watching. He literally pulled his shades up and he's going like, he's literally doing that! This man needs to die.
Now that's a deliciously depraved way to die. I think it's worth it. And if anyone's at fault here, the Great One is who's controlling Gunko's body. We can always march more kids over here. Call their names! Scream your family love to the heavens! This is the real stuff! This is emotion!
This man is literally throwing the plan to the wind because the thought of these children plummeting to their deaths and their parents watching is literally sending him into ecstasy right now.
Listen up, all you brats and PTA members. We were planning to have you taken safely and smoothly to the Holy Land, but due to an unforeseen accident, we seem to have lost the ship and the sea clouds it rested on. And this means you will be reaching your goal via the the tragic conclusion of falling to your deaths.
There's nothing there! Huh? If we keep walking, we're gonna fall off!
And then we get Oimo.
There's no way I'll let them keep going, even if I have to give up my arms to do it!
And Oimo grabs onto one of the kids, despite the fact that the thorns shoot up and they stab him in the hands.
Grandpa Oimo!
And then we have Killingham, still in his, centaur state, going, "Oh, I'm afraid there is nothing you can do. Oh, I'm afraid there is nothing you can do." What does Sommers... Oh, wait, this is Sommers going,
"Oh, I'm afraid there is nothing you can do."
What does Sommers think he's doing? It took forever to get those kids to the port.
Darn it!
And then Oimo gets thrown to the side. No, he doesn't get thrown to the side. He starts getting dragged, still trying to hold on to his kid. His grandkid.
Ah!
Stop it, Grandpa Oimo!
That hurts! I'm sorry, kids. Forgive me.
Oimo!
That settles it. As long as that arrow doesn't disappear, there's no way to stop the children for sure.
And then we have Ripley.
So we can't save them anymore?
Oh no!
All we can do is watch helplessly as our children plummet off the edge before our eyes. If they fall into the underworld, we'll never even find their bodies.
Curse your foul demons!
And Sommers is laughing his behind off. He's snot coming out of his nose, tears coming down of his eyes, because the mere thought of these children dying and their parents watching, bubble in the throat. It's funny to him. This man needs to die.
I think heaven is punishing me for doing bad things. Huh? That's what they said when I got scolded too. Me too. I wish I'd been a good boy. So, we're all going to die because we were naughty? No, I don't wanna! I'll be a good girl, I swear! Help us! Spare our lives! I'm sorry!
And Somers takes off his shades and he's smiling at these kids screaming. And then Colin speaks up.
I won't be bad anymore.
And he's thinking back to when he was talking to Ripley. And Ripley says,
remember, when you're a bad boy, the sun god is watching. Yeah, but I want it in a doll, so it's mine now.
Apparently he beat up a kid and got their toy. And then we have Colin being reprimanded by Lily going,
if you're that strong, you should be gentler to the weak. Now go and apologize.
And then we have Olva. It's Olva who's being reprimanded by her parent going,
why did you leave so much on your plate? Do you hate my cooking that much? But the carrots. Hey, don't take your father's sword out again.
And all these kids are being reprimanded.
I hate you, Grandpa. You're a barbaric pirate.
All of these children are thinking back when they last talked to their parents.
Why did you lie to me again? How can I keep you safe if you won't be truthful with me?
Why'd you bring that to school?
Why'd you bring that to school? I forgot my homework on purpose because I didn't do it.
And then all of the children are yelling and screaming and crying.
Ma! I don't want to die! Mommy!
And then in front of Colin, before he gets to the edge, Ripley is in front of him.
Huh? Colin, come here, baby.
And she hugs Colin despite being Oh, God. Oh, God. She hugs Colin, and she's just skewered all over as she holds her son.
I'm sorry. I wasn't able to stop you, but...
And mind you, it shows these spikes going through her all over while she holds and hugs Colin.
Ah! Get away from me, Mommy! You're going to die! I don't care. I won't let you die alone.
And it shows Ripley smiling as she's holding on to Colin. And then the children are driven off the edge as all of their parents hug them. All of their parents hug them and they're pushed off the edge.
Mama! Mommy! Grandpa! Mother! Ma!
And Somers is just laughing.
Don't worry, everyone. I'm sure we'll turn out just fine. Right, everyone? We'll survive, right?
As it shows Ripley falling with Colin, Olva falling with her parent, Oimo's grandkid falling as well. Everyone is falling, but the parents refuse to let go of their kids.
Roger! I heard you earlier. You are so brave.
Father! Bent! Mama! What's the scariest thing in the world? Mama! I'm sorry I said you were scary. That's fine, darling. Sometimes Mama needs to be scary to keep you safe.
And then it cuts to the one child that doesn't have any parents, apparently. She goes,
they're all so lucky. They have parents to hug them.
And then this is Angie speaking to her.
I can be like a mother to you. But you're not my mother.
And then Angie, where Angie ran off to was so that she could grab Johanna.
Johanna! Miss Angie!
And then the last one is Bjorn, Rodo's little brother.
Don't show up at school. I'm embarrassed to have a nerd for a brother. I will try my best to hide my nature. It's heavenly punishment.
And then Rodo is running, going, Ultra Ramyon!
It doesn't hurt!
As he embraces his brother, going,
Big brother!
And then Somers is laughing, going,
Yeah!
Yeah! Look at that! Like scrapes of garbage plunging down into hell. It makes my heart tremble. Oh, what a saga of emotions. It could have been just 10 measly brats if they only stood back and watched. Stupid mothers, stupid fathers, murders of love. Oh, I got a stitch in my side. Such poignantly pointless deaths.
Summers is losing it. Summers is literally lost his mind. He's literally drooling at the mouth, crying all throughout his eyes, snot coming out both his nostrils, and he's just like,
Oh, I got a stitch in my side. Such poignantly pointless deaths.
and then hold up. Then they fall, but all of the parents land on something. And we have Ripley with Colin. Colin doesn't have the thorns around him anymore.
Colin? Where are we? I don't know, but everyone's alive.
They land on something. That's not a mountain. They land on something. Whatever this is surpasses the size of the giants. Is that what I think it is? But they all land. Hold on, I'm not even gonna look at chat. They land and Colin goes,
I don't know, but everyone's alive.
Ugh.
Mommy!
It's Gum Gum Tummy Cracker. Now you're poking me.
so get off already!
Huh? Luffy?
And then we have something. Is this Loki? Whatever this thing is Loki. And it surpasses the giants in... I thought Loki was big before, but whatever he is so big the giants look like humans in his... Then Loki speaks up.
Listen up. Once we're up there, I need you off my back at once. It's preventing me from fighting.
Oh wait,
I need you off my back at once.
Your back?
It's preventing me from fighting.
he just started falling out of nowhere. Good thing we were passing by.
It's not a good thing. I'm a destroyer. I won't guarantee that anyone survives. Now here goes.
And then it starts snowing. And Summers notices.
Snow? What's it snowing for? Thunder?
There's thunder and snow happening at the same time. And then all of Elbaf starts to get all rubbery. Starts to get all loose. Starts to get all wobbly. Doon da doon da 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 doon da 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 doon da 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 doon da 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 dum 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 dum. It's the drums of liberation.
What's this rhythm? Elbaf itself is shaking.
And this is Jarl.
On an exceedingly rare day when lightning and snow combined, a vast beast will blanket the sky with its presence. And with the sound of the drums of liberation,
as something big starts to part something gargantuan starts parting the trees. And then Sommer's gonna only go like, ha! And then Emu, in possession of Gunko's body, can only look. Oh, God! Oh! Oh! What is that? 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 What is Loki? What is he? That doesn't look like a bird. That doesn't look like a bird to me. What is that? What is Loki?
And with the sound of the drums of liberation, the Sun God will appear.
And it shows Luffy on Loki's back, and he's just a giant black dragon. He's just a giant black dragon. And Luffy's on his back going, I just can't get over how huge you are. And Loki, as this giant black dragon, comes tearing out from the underworld, destroying everything in his path. Now, give me a sec. Family just got here with food. I need to process this. I need to process all of this. That's the end of the chapter. We go on break seeing that Loki is a giant black dragon. He is literally that one giant black dragon from Lord of the Rings. Literally that. I'll be right back. I gotta take a walk. I'm back. I had to step away. Bro, that doesn't look like Velda. That doesn't look, that's a, look, everyone. This is our first mythical zone user that surpasses the size of the only living thing bigger than Loki is Zunisha. Literally, the elephant that has been living for over 1,000 years. This thing Loki is now the second largest living thing in existence in One Piece. That doesn't look like a bird to me. That doesn't look like a bird to me. I knew he was something big and massive, but I didn't think he was going to be a dragon. I didn't think he was going to be a giant. And this isn't like your Eastern style Oriental looking dragon. This is like, he is Fatalis. Loki is Fatalis from Monster Hunter. And those of you who have faced Fatalis in Monster Hunter World, or basically any other Monster Hunter game, knows that Fatalis is the top dragon. Literally, the epitome of monster is the Fatalis and the subspecies. Red Crimson Fatalis and White Fatalis being regarded as pretty much the god of monsters. Loki is Fatalis. What even is this? Now I see why it's called the legendary devil fruit. This man looked at Oda looked at Antares from Solo Leveling and says, let me make that into a devil fruit power. Bro, this is what we go on break for. Okay, let me see your comments and let me see what all you said. If the YouTube app will actually work for me for once, because I'm trying to see what everybody said. Let me see chat. Let me see. I can't even see chat. What is it with this app? And it won't let me see. Okay, now. Let's see. Sorry. Also, Ravi, if you're watching up to this point, sorry it was so late in the day for you. I know time zones in India is way different, and it was already midnight, well past midnight by the time I got home. So I hope you enjoy this. Blue Blur, good to see you as well. T-Rex, you either fold or I will fold and then eat you with mustard. Somers, what a scumbag. Ozzy, it is good to see you as always. Let's see, blaming Emu is a bold move. The fact that Emu can read their minds. You thinking this? And the fact that you can speak telepathically with Emu? Very bold for you to think that thought. Go ahead, Somers, blame Emu for your screw up and share Saturn's fate. Gavin isn't going to be happy about that. His mountains have holes in them. Making light of a heartbreaking moment. We need to keep it from grind. Exactly. So, missed the notification, but I made it. It's good to see you, Anime Juke. Oh my god, they look tiny. Somers is scum. That was Luffy they landed on. And in this stage, Luffy huge, but Loki is ginormous. Exactly. Loki is ginormous. Mind you, Luffy is using Gum Gum Tummy Cracker. And he's also doing Gum Gum Giant at the same time. So he's literally spreading himself out already at a giant size to catch all of these other giants. And his size is still dwarfed by the massive size of Loki. Loki is a kaiju. He is literally a Ghidorah-sized kaiju. See, there have been some big people within One Piece. There have been some big enemies. There have been some big creatures in One Piece. But Loki is literally one of the biggest things to ever be seen. Now, of course, we got San Juan Wolf. Yeah, he can get to a big size. He's a giant that can already make himself giant at 300-something feet. Loki is so big that even Luffy in his giant state and giant size surpasses Luffy in this state. And the last thing we get is Loki and Luffy tearing through the treetops, causing all of the sleep dids to be tossed aside like they're nothing. What is he? He can't be Needhog. He can't be. This can't be a dragon fruit model Needhog. Mythical type model Needhog. That can't be it. This dude is a giant black dragon. Okay. Look at the cover of chapter 1128. That's what that is. Bruh, Luffy in his giant form, and he's still smaller than one of his horns. That's bigger. Yeah, that's bigger than a kaiju. When you think about it, Loki is as big as the sun level of Elbaf, making him one of the biggest living things in the story, and we're not even seeing his entire body. Right, we're only seeing part of him tear through the sun world right now. Now, when he said he could fly, I didn't think he was going to come out of there looking like this. I was not expecting this. Looks like Ragnir is a full squirrel at the moment since I don't see the hammer aspect on it anywhere. No, so that means that Ragnir is... Did he capture Loki? He apparently beat Loki, which I'm starting to doubt, to be honest. At least I don't think he did it by himself. Probably Loki willingly accepted to be imprisoned for the sake of appearances. Are you talking about Shanks? Oh, wait, did Shanks really capture Loki? Was there, Maybe Loki willingly accepted to be imprisoned, maybe. For the sake of appearances, I wouldn't be surprised if he's around the same size as Zunisha. He's probably bigger than San Juan Wolf. I don't doubt he's bigger than San Juan Wolf. Because remember, San Juan Wolf isn't an ancient giant. He's a very big giant, but he's not an ancient giant. Loki is. He has ancient giant within him, and he surpasses the size of Harudin easily. I can see why Loki has a special bounty now. I was thinking the same thing. My question is, why only 2.6 million? 1128 is what Loki's color pattern is on a dragon. Hold on. Let me go back to 1128. Let me look at that. Thank God for Viz allowing me to go back to different pages. Wow. Did Oda tease us? Okay, so chapter 1128, which is RPG, there is a giant dragon, a giant purple dragon behind the Straw Hat crew, and... Did Oda tease us what Loki is going to look like this whole time? Because it is kind of random for them to be flying on, all the Straw Hat crew to be flying on brooms. But it's just like a big old giant purple dragon in the background. It's like, what has the dragon got to do with this whole aesthetic? Bro, did Oda tease us of what Loki would look like this whole time from chapter 1128? Loki is a a giant dragon of destruction. And the thing is, his underbelly is pink, and his scales are all purple. And if I remember correctly, Loki's hair is like a purplish color, right? Because they have like the cover that shows Loki on the front. His hair is purplish, right? So if his hair color matches that of this dragon, then Oda basically showed us what Loki was going to look like all the way back in last year in October. He basically showed it to us in front of our eyes this whole time. Wow. Okay, Oda. You firing on all cylinders. And a good thing is that both the children and the parents are safe, because when the children fell, the thorns were undone, which means that if the thorns are undone, then Robin's would be undone as well, which allows her to go and get to the school in order to save the library somehow. So it would seem that anyone that was attached with thorns it's now dissipated because the children don't have them anymore. Okay, now that we've read through this chapter, I'm sorry, I don't think I've screamed that much concerning a chapter. But then again, the appearance of this dragon does not match the appearance of the dragon from 1128, because the snout is different, the legs are different, and the overall aesthetic of this dragon are fundamentally different from what the dragon looks like in 1128. If anything, it'll keep the color scheme, but the shape way different. Okay, you already know what time it is. It's time for a summary. Now, here's the thing. Lightning and snow started as soon as Loki started to get close. That is not an aspect of Luffy's power. That's an aspect of Loki's power. Lightning and snow happening at the same time? So let me pull up the page. It's time for the summary, if it'll let me. What in the world? Never seen that before. Okay, we got a long summary here. Chapter notes are not, mind you, the summary is not as long as it was last time. Long summary. Not only did the falling MMA destroy the ship the knights were planning on using, it also destroyed the sea clouds underneath it, leaving a gaping hole leading down to the underworld, and with Gunko's arrow still in effect, the children will walk off the edge and fall to their deaths below. Sommers tries to contact Gunko and tell her to stop the arrow so they can figure out a new strategy, but remembers that Imu is currently controlling her, so it will not be possible. The parents of the children reach them and try to destroy the arrow, but none of their weapons work, with Sommers even adding that if destroying it was that easy, he would have done so already. Just then, a demented idea enters Sommers' head. Since the parents of these children are unable to get within arm's length due to his thorns, they will be forced to watch them fall to their deaths, which he finds very entertaining. He also says that the fault for this will rest solely on Imu for controlling Gunko, and even if these children die, they can just grab more. So already, you showing some insubordinate sides to you, and some dismissive and disrespect towards Imu by saying like it's Imu's fault that all of this happened. If they find out that you thought that, Sommers probably won't have that position anymore. Probably will have that same treatment from Saturn, just like you guys said. Will rest solely for controlling Gunko, and even if these children die, they can just grab more. With that, Sommers addresses the children and parents and informs them that instead of being taken to Marijois, they will all march to their doom. Hearing this, Oimo tries to save his granddaughter but gets stabbed by the thorns, thereby cementing that they can do nothing to save them. All the while, Sommers laughs his head off at the sight. As the children reach the end, several of them start crying and believe this is punishment for doing bad things. Colin, in particular, thinks back to when he took someone's toy because he beat them in a duel, only to be punished by Ripley and told that he should be gentler to those weaker than him. And thus he yells he will not be bad anymore and starts crying for his mom. Ripley then appears in front of him and hugs him, getting impaled in the process. So that's already a strike against Sommers. Gabon's wife is basically harmed because of your shenanigans. The altercation that is going to result for Gabon seeing his wife stabbed and his son inadvertently part of that as well. Yeah, Sommers is about to get he's about to get that belt to behind by Gabon. Let me see where I left off. Colin begs her to run away, otherwise she will die too, but Ripley accepts this as she does not want her son to die alone. As the both of them fall off, the other parents embrace their children despite the pain and fall off too. You don't understand what a parent will go through in order to ensure the safety of their children, but also the peace of mind of their kids, even if they get harmed in the process. If they can bring their children peace, they will. I can't say that because I'm not a parent, but I know enough I would not be surprised would do the same thing. Before Ranja falls off, she is praised for how brave she was earlier by her father, while Anji shows up to hug her student Johanna, who she sees as her daughter. Rode even arrives to hug his brother, even though the latter was embarrassed by Rodo's hobbies. Once everyone falls over, Sommers continues to laugh and drool over the pathetic sight in front of them. However, the children and their parents end up being saved unexpectedly by Luffy, who was in Gear 5th, and riding Loki in his transformed state. Loki tells everyone to get off his back once he is up on the Sun World because it will distract him from fighting. Luffy says it was a good thing they managed to catch everyone as they were passing by, but Loki states he is a destroyer, not a savior. Sommers then notices it's snowing and thundering, and all of Elbaf feels a shaking rhythm. Jarl says this strange weather foreshadows the sun god's appearance. Sure enough, emerging from below to a horrified Sommers and perplexed Emu is Loki with Luffy and Ragnir atop his head, as the former starts decimating Killingham's MMAs. So, quick notes, the Killingham, the Nika MMA that crashed into the escape ship leaves a hole on the sea cloud surface. Upon realizing that the children will fall to their deaths, the giant parents attempted to cut Gunko's guiding arrow and Sommer's thorns to no avail. As the children reached the cliff, the parents embraced their children and fell together, much to Sommer's amusement. Loki, now in his transformed state, emerged from the underworld alongside Luffy in his Gear 5th form to rescue the children and parents. It is revealed that Loki's beast form is a gargantuan dragon-like creature. So, we have some notes here. The Japanese title of the chapter is written entirely in hiragana, excluding the numeral 1, which gives it a childlike tone. This is similar to the previous chapter title, What I'm Afraid Of, which was written from the perspective of the Walrus School children. The title was initially spelled one way in the weekly Shonen Jump release. However, the same day the chapter officially released, a correction was posted by the official One Piece staff account on Twitter, replacing the kanji character Bond with the hiragana. So, what we have here is Loki finally emerging. Now we don't know what this is. So now the question is, what is his power that enables him to look like a giant dragon? We don't know what mythical fruit this is. We don't know what mythical fruit this is. But whatever it is exceptionally large.
It is absolutely massive, my dudes.
This makes me wonder, though, we thought lightning and snow was from Ragnir, but it appears not to be the case, which makes me wonder what Ragnir's power is, if it has one, if it's just a regular Zoan. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I prefer Saturn being alive than Somers. It's close enough, though, because they are both detestable. See, one side had no problem infecting a child and a person with a disease just to see what would happen. Just to see what will happen. Somers revels in children dying and begging for their lives. He also really revels in parents begging for the lives of their children. And if they both happen to die, it just works out just fine. Remember, during the God Valley incident, during the culling game, during the World Noble National Island Hunt, native hunt, Somers essentially set up a whole bed of thorns to be right below a child who was barely able to hold onto a tree, and just watched gleefully as the parent came in to catch his child, and they both fell on and died on his thorns that he created. He loves that. So they're both incredibly detestable individuals. Both of them. Both Somers and Saturns were in the files. You know the files I'm talking about. I'm not going to say the name, but you know they were both in the files. But Somers, though, there's a definite line to be drawn when you start involving kids and you love to see kids harmed and also their parents basically trying to defend their children. So there's a special place in the underworld for people like Somers, because he's like, oh, I can't wait to see this look on the face of these parents as they watch their children die. No, there's a special circle for people like Somers. It definitely looks more like a Western dragon rather than Kaido's more Eastern dragon design. Find out, but we will find in the next chapter what Loki is, but that wasn't his fault. He doesn't know what love is. He knows. He has a sadistic opinion of it. He is not oblivious to the concept of love. It's just that his thought about it, his thought of what love is pain and misery. That's what he thinks love is. Pain and misery towards someone that isn't him. He likes to see, because the thing is, it's suffering. He likes to see the suffering. What a cavalcade of emotions, but it's like he loves to see people in pain, in misery, and suffering. What about Emu? What about Emu? What about Emu? Let me see. Yes, we talk about the Celestial Dragon files, right? Exactly those. The ones that they keep saying don't exist. Halster, are you referring to Loki's bounty? If something, then it's actually 2.6 billion. It's probably right behind Luffy's. But here we have these children who are literally facing certain death. And they're thinking that this is divine punishment for how they treated their parents. Disobeying their parents, beating up other kids, and taking things that are not them, that are not theirs, not heeding their parents at all, and they think this is all because they chose not to even though they chose not to listen to their parents at all, but their parents is all like, I got you, despite the fact that they risk injuring and even killing themselves. The prospect is very high. They still embrace their children because that's what parents do. They look after their kids despite the circumstances. They'll even put their own lives on the line to ensure that either their children are safe or they give them peace of mind if there is no other way. You know, that's what real parenting does. For Summers, it's all like, oh, this is hilarious. Now the parents are trying to console them even though they're all about to die. Meant to say, Emu's worse. They're worse. They don't care about anybody. A lot of people seem to think that Emu is a she, but I'm gonna wait until we get confirmation, despite how much validity there is with people's theories. So I'm just gonna keep referring them to they until we get an actual confirmation. But no, Emu doesn't care about anybody except themselves. I mean, that's very apparent. See, with Sommers, he understands emotions. He understands things on a basic, and I use this word very loosely, human level, but his understanding of feelings, he lacks the empathy. He lacks the empathy. He's basically a sociopath, a psychopath, and a sociopath. He's all of the paths that aren't good. So that's Sommers. He understands the emotion, but he could not care less about them because it is a game to him. Remember when Shamrock said, like, turn it into a game. This is all a game. Right before Shamrock went back to Marijois, he said, turn it into a game. And all of this has just been nothing. It's just a game of emotions. I mean, he was blaming the kids, what they did, and how terrible did the family, and I'm thinking, like, what's wrong with this guy? The thing that's wrong with Sommers is that he's a psychopath. Literally, this is what we would call criminally insane. However, because of his status, Sommers thinks that this is normal behavior. See, when you're a celestial dragon, and you lack the empathy to understand people who aren't celestial dragons, you have this mindset that anything you think of, there's a very thin line. Like, they lack a moral compass. Pretty much the vast majority. No, all of them. All of them lack a moral compass. The only people who actually have a moral compass that thinks, like, maybe this is wrong, maybe we shouldn't be doing this, all of them are dead. Every last actual honorable celestial dragon has been either killed or they died of other causes. Don Quixote Homing was killed by his son, despite his best intentions, him revealing that he was a celestial dragon to a bunch of people who already had countless centuries of oppression by celestial dragons, led to his family being ostracized and hunted down and beaten and tortured, his wife dying because they couldn't get the medical care because basically they were just tossed aside like they were basically nothing. The same thing that celestial dragons look at normal humans for. Then we have Don Quixote Rocinante, the brother of Doflamingo. Despite being raised as a celestial dragon, he had the humanity. He had the humanity to see just how bad the celestial dragons were, became a marine, and even went out of his way to persuade as many children as he could from joining the Don Quixote family. Couldn't do that for Buffalo, couldn't do that for Baby Five, couldn't do that for Dellinger, couldn't do that for Law. And then we see in the end that he still was able to stand up against his brother despite dying in the end. Then we have Don Quixote Mayasgard, who once originally was like the same pompous looking celestial dragons until he went on a trip with Queen Otohime and came back as a venerable person, a person worthy of note in terms of being morally good, even going out of his way to beat up on another celestial dragon that was harassing Shirahoshi, Charlos, during the reverie, and even after everything went down, helped everyone escape, such as, Sai and Leo helped them get out, and what did he get in the end? He was crucified. He was basically crucified and killed by Garling, simply because he stood up for, quote-unquote, scum. So, every single celestial dragon has something mentally wrong with them because they don't understand the concept of morality. Because since they're gods, morals really don't apply to them. I mean, what do you think is psychopathic because it's crazy what he's doing? That's exactly what I mean. What he's doing is psychopathic. Him bounding up children so that their parents can't touch them or even console them physically or even try and save them, that is sadistic. That is psychopathic. The dude literally gets off on watching people foolishly and unable to save their children. That's his aphrodisiac. That is literally his high. Only psychopathic, sadistic people enjoy that. Literally enjoying people not being able to save their kids, and you're laughing at them. You're laughing, crying, and drooling out of the mouth because you can't control yourself because you find it amusing. That's psychopathic. That's sadistic. That's insane. But of course, Somers doesn't see anything wrong with it because morality apparently does not apply or mean anything to celestial dragons who see themselves as gods. So that's what I mean. That's what I mean when I say Somers is a psychopath. He's all of the paths except for the good ones. The only path he isn't is an empath, because he doesn't feel for the parents. He doesn't understand it. He just revels in the misery and sorrow and every negative emotion that is stemming from this one particular thing. He likes it because it's funny to him. It's comedy to him. So yeah, Somers is a psychopath. Let me see. Yeah, he was blaming kids when they did. Now, I was like, what's wrong with this guy? What's wrong with him is that celestial dragons lack the empathy to understand anything that is quote unquote beneath them. So Somers, and I'm not even going to say it's a product of his place. I mean, that's part of the reason, because basically every celestial dragon was raised in an environment where anything they think is reality. Anything they do should be allowed because they're gods, and anyone who refuses is subject. Everything is subject to their will. Yes, that's the point. I don't like celestial dragons because they always keep doing evil stuff, and they think that they're the kings or the queens. Oh no, they think they vehemently think they're above even kings and queens. They don't put themselves in the same category as kings and queens of kingdoms throughout the world of One Piece. I was about to say Elden Ring. Of One Piece. They see themselves as above everyone. Like literal gods. The same way Enoru looked at everyone in the Skypiea arc? That's how every celestial dragon looks at anyone that isn't a celestial dragon. Even the people that serve directly next to them, they're just human. They're just scum. They're nothing. They're trash. They have no rights. They are just objects to be played with. I don't get it why Emu always think about that. Yeah, that is true. It's simply this. It's simply this. Every single celestial dragon thinks this way simply because that is how the world government has basically created this entire thing. They see themselves as deities. Yes, because when Joy Boy was defeated by all of them, because Joy Boy Joy Boy essentially lost against them because all these kingdoms joined together because of what Joy Boy was doing. Now, like Vegapunk said during his speech, we don't know the conditions and reasons as to why this war got started. We don't know, which I think will be by far the most important backstory should Oda take us there. Finding out how the war even got started and that led us to where the world government is right now. But every celestial dragon, every part of their lineage has been raised with the thought process that they're gods, they're rulers of the world, and that no one can tell them anything. Simply because whatever happened during that war against Joy Boy, that allowed them to do free reign with whatever they wanted to do. Mind you, it took 20 whole kingdoms to bring Joy Boy down. So that just speaks to how strong Joy Boy was, but also the people that followed him. So, with no one to basically call out the Celestial Dragons for what they're doing, and mind you, I'm just going off of the facts that we know. By the fact that there was no one to challenge them, they were able to create a society that benefited only them, and anyone else beneath them was subject to their will, their whims, their demands, their ire, their wrath, any sort of emotion they were feeling at the time. The rest of the world was subject to it. Hey, you have a nice looking wife. She's mine now, and you couldn't do anything about it because no one dared to challenge them. The last one to actually challenge the Celestial Dragons in a very major way was Joy Boy. Mind you, you have the revolutionaries bucking up against them, but they're not at the strength that Joy Boy was back in his day, 800 years ago. So for the past 800 years, the world government and the Celestial Dragons have basically built up a society where it's just perpetual servitude towards them, perpetual continuation of the downtrodden, of the haves and the have-nots, just for 8 centuries. So, in their heads, it is simply history. It is simply history that they are able to do what they do because it's always been that way for them. So every last one of them have been raised in an environment that has been perpetuated for 800 years. There hasn't been anyone to go like, maybe what we're doing is wrong, because they're in every generations upon generations upon lineages upon eras have perpetrated this very thought of we're gods, we can do whatever we want and no one can say no to us for all of these years. So after all of these years, you get people like Somers, the Marleys versus the Eldians. Essentially, the Marleyans versus the Eldians. The Marleyans versus the Eldians in Attack on Titan. It's essentially that. But we all know how that altercation ended for, what was it, the Eldians? I think it was the Eldians. Which one was the one that Eren and his people attacked? Was it the Eldians? Someone correct me because I haven't watched or read through Attack on Titan in years. It's really been a long time. So forgive me if I'm getting the side switched. But this is how it is in One Piece. My bad, Marleyans? Okay. But which one was it? I just want to be sure. And always remember, the ones who win the wars are the very ones who rewrite history. Yep. Because Doflamingo said this back during the Marineford War, that those who win get to decide history. Doflamingo said this. He literally said this. Matter of fact, hold on. Let me see if I can find that one with Doflamingo's speech. Which volume was it? Let me see if I can find the one where he's... Let me see if I can find that one particular one where Doflamingo says, like, let me see. I'm gonna find it. The one who wins becomes justice. I'm trying to find that one. It's somewhere. It's somewhere. It's in one of these volumes. Someone will probably know what it is, and that'll probably save me some time. This is the reason why I wish I had such a great memory when it comes to remember which chapter number it is where all of this happens. I really wish that I had I really wish I had that memory. Oh, I get it, but the redhead team or pirates tell the strongest pirates most likely there are the strongest emerald? Huh? But Joy Boy was alone, right? No. Joy Boy was not alone. Joy Boy was not alone. Okay, I get it, but the redhead team or pirate tell the strongest pirate most likely there are the strongest emerald. Could you explain a little bit more? Because I want to make sure that I understand you properly. I want to make sure that I understand. But Joy Boy was not alone. When it said that the 20 kingdoms went up against Joy Boy, it took 20 kingdoms because Joy Boy had a faction of his own. It's already been said that Joy Boy's faction, that 20 kingdoms had to go up against Joy Boy's faction. 20 whole kingdoms went up against Joy Boy and his people. Yeah, Joy Boy had help. Hold on, I'm gonna look for this chapter. What is it? Doflamingo speech. Chapter 556. Okay. Okay, it's in volume 57. I was close. I was close. Okay, 556, 554, 555. $556. Justice will prevail. Okay. And Doflamingo is laughing. Let me see if I can find it. I believe he means the strongest emperor. Oh, do you mean that Shanks and his crew are the strongest? Shanks is the strongest Yonko. Yeah, but the red hair team of the pirates tell the strongest pirate most likely they are the strongest emperor. Oh, I get it. Okay, my apologies. I want to say Shanks may be among the strongest, if not pretty much the strongest right now. Because while Blackbeard is definitely strong, I mean, Shanks and his whole crew are out here just braving the entire world with no devil fruit users at all. Just strength and hockey. Blackbeard needs to give every single member of his crew some devil fruit powers just to give them an edge. But Shanks' crew is all like, yeah, I just need these guys. That's all I need. But let me go back here. Doflamingo says, are the pirates the bad guys? Is the Navy the good guys? Things like that change with the seasons. Kids who've never known peace and kids who've never known war have completely different ideas of right and wrong. It's the job of those at the top to decide what's good and what's evil. Right now, it could go either way. Justice will prevail? Of course it will, because the side of justice will be whichever side wins. So with that being said, from volume 57 of One Piece, what a wonderful volume this is. So with that being said, it can be said that whoever wins gets to decide how history goes. They get to decide the rules. They get to decide what is seen as good and what is seen as evil. Helping slaves who are supposed to be indebted and property of the Celestial Dragons, that's wrong. Serving the Celestial Dragons and appeasing them and giving them tithes in order to keep your cities and towns and countries and islands safe under their rule, that's right. But that only applies because the Celestial Dragons are the ones who won the war against Joy Boy. And now we have people like Dragon and his people in the Revolutionaries who are trying to do away with that. It's been a slow build-up and it's been a slow crawl. But that sense of rebellion has been creeping up more and more and more. But I go back to this again. People like Somers get to do what they do and take pride in it and revel in it and all the pain and misery that they sow simply because the ones who wrote history to be this way for them was them. And that's where we're at. So, getting back to this, and that's just about Somers. We need to talk about Loki real quick, and then I gotta bring it to a close because I got food here that's still very, very quite hot, and I want to eat that. So now I want to see, is there any Norse dragons? I need to know if there are any. Is Loki Fafnir? Because there are only a couple of major dragons with, big names and big impacts in One Piece. We have Jormungandr, the corpse we have Jormungandr, the world encircling Jormungandr. We have the corpse eating Needhugger, and then the greedy treasure hoarding Fafnir. Is he Fafnir? That didn't play out in my mind. Is Loki Fafnir? Is Loki dragon fruit mythical type model Fafnir? Hold on. Fafnir, originally a dwarf who, driven by greed for a cursed treasure, transformed into a dragon. Ooh, here's another one. Dragons appear in throughout Old Norse literature, including the Voluspa, a poem detailing the world's end, and the Volsunga saga. They represent the ultimate destructive forces of nature and the inevitable downfall of the divine order. And if we were to put a group of people to the downfall of a divine order, we could say the inevitable downfall of the celestial dragons. I need to know more. We need to know more. I need to know more about this. Hold on. I need to look up Fafnir then. And images of Fafnir portray him as like this absolutely massive dragon, though some have him looking like some sort of weird looking slooped face dragon. Okay, so right here it says, in the Germanic hero legend and folklore, Fafnir was a dwarf or other type of humanoid. Who has shifted into the hammer of a Germanic dragon in order to protect a treasure, eventually being slain by a member of the Volsung family, typically Sigurd. Let me see, etymology, appearance. Before taking the form of a dragon, Fafnir's appearance is not explicitly described, although his brother Regin is described to be a dwarf in Nora Patir and resembles a dwarf. Let me see. While in the form of a worm, flightless and snake-like, that is definitely not it. Later, let me see. What in the world did I just type? That one might be that sounds like something that sounds like something that will happen in Ragnarok. Let me see. Let's see. In the narrative of the later Volsunga saga, however, he has shoulders, suggesting legs, wings, or both. This change is consistent with the wider trend in Germanic portrayals of dragons, and likely results from influence from continental Europe that was facilitated by Christianization and the increased availability of translated romances. Okay, so I need to see powers of him. Let's see. Curse. Fafnir is able to turn his spirit into a powerful curse that allows him to attack his enemies in their dreams eternally, that can make them go insane and die. And we're just looking at the apparent abilities of Fafnir as well. So, immense strength, fire breath, immense durability. outrage, golden aura, treasure summoning, and magic, teleportation magic, replication, curse, telepathy, flight. And mind you, this is just from like some divine verse and one of the 7 great dragon. Wait, is this the right place? What even is this site? What are you doing? What is this? Fafnir, the Dragon Dwarf, and Curse of Avarice. I'm trying to see if it has any powers that we could possibly turn to. Symbolism. I would not be surprised if he's Fafnir, but he has the abilities of different types of creatures from Norse mythology as well. Because what do you mean snow and lightning? Okay, all right, okay. I said everything I needed to say. This chapter, for us to go on break, oh, I cannot wait to find out exactly what Loki is. You heard it here first. I'ma say he's Fafnir. I want to say he's Fafnir. He's Loki, but he's also his dragon form is Fafnir. And like I said last week, chapter 1175 is going to be fire. You did say it, because you were trying to say 1174. But you saying 1175 back then, we had no idea that what we were about to see today would be this good looking. And now this is making me look forward to 1175 even more. Because to find out what Loki is and find out, because his devil fruit is legendary. His devil fruit is legendary. I can't wait to find out what he is, because as soon as we find out, oh, we are going to be learning so much about what his powers could be. But mind you, his powers is on a level so much that he was able to toss around Harold like he was basically nothing. And if he has like a full-on dragon form, he has a hybrid form as well. And what if his length of mystical powers surpasses that of Kaido's? Wouldn't that be crazy? Because Kaido can summon lightning, he can send out blades of invisible air that can slice off limbs, he can shoot out fire, he can do all of these different elemental anomalies around himself, conjure up tornadoes if he wanted to, and even have clouds that can cause entire islands to float off the ground. But what if Loki's powers surpasses that of Kaido's in terms of just how powerful they are, just pure destruction, just pure AoE everywhere. He's a locking world weapon of mass destruction. And the fact that he's an ancient giant, which means his size enables his powers to reach an even farther length, his size dwarfs that of Kaido's. That's the thing. He's bigger than Kaido. So yeah, 1175 is going to be a great chapter to react to. Now, giving you guys a bit of a service announcement for every upcoming Sunday. And I put this, Loki is going to be scary. I mean, his dragon state already looks incredibly cool, even if it's just a silhouette and we don't see the great detail of it. But I can't wait to see it in full. But I'm giving you guys a service announcement now, and I'll give it to everyone after I do Sakamoto Days, when I'm going to eat my food first. So I did a line reading for a play I'm going to be a part of at my church, like about a good month from now. Every Sunday, apparently, and I'm just learning about this today, every Sunday after church, I will be rehearsing. So that means that all the way up until before my birthday, essentially before my birthday, I will be staying after in order to go over these lines with everybody. And then the chapter reactions will happen afterwards, as it tends to do. I set it to 3 o'clock as a placeholder time, but that may be what I do in the future for the next several Sundays in order to accommodate for the time I take in order to practice these lines and get through that. So you guys, I don't set it too early and you guys are waiting. I'm letting you guys know now. I'll put a post both in the Discord and on the community post for YouTube as well, so everyone knows and isn't confused about it later on. This is going to be something that happens well into March, all the way up until like the 22nd or I believe April something. But yeah, all the way up. I have to check it again. Actually, I got the list right here. Hold on. Yeah, it's gonna be happening both all the rest of this month and pretty much all of March, all the way up to March 29th. March 29th will be the last big thing, but April 4th will be the dress rehearsal, and that'll be on a Saturday. So don't worry about that one. But every Sunday all the way up until March 29th, every Sunday will be taken up. Every Sunday will be taken up. So, like I said, I'll let you guys know in a big post so that everyone knows. But I just thought you guys would know before these upcoming Sundays start to be pushed back a little bit more because I'm going to be busy. But I thought I'd let you know and just because I care about you guys and your time, and I don't want you guys waiting on me. But that's all I got for today, ladies and gentlemen. I got to do Sakamoto days, but that'll be after I eat all of my food, and then I'll be done for the rest of the day, and then I'm going to rest. Because, what a way to end this chapter on. But I'm done. Thank you for your patience, everybody. If you managed to stay here to the absolute end, you're the real ones, and I greatly appreciate everything you've done for me by simply being here. Hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Even check out my Patreon. There's loads of free stuff for you over there because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. And because I know you're coming back anyway. Have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples.